It won't glitch. Hey y'all.
Hey,
Hey you guys. Hello. We're gonna let some people come in the room. Let me come out of here.
yes.
Mhm. Okay, there we go.
Come
All right.
on in the room.
Make sure you announce yourself when coming in. Hello, my name is Tracy Collins, and this is Friday Night Live. You guys see, I got my folks with me tonight because we are here to have a serious discussion.
Let's get it together, y'all. Let's get it
We're
together.
gonna have a serious discussion because what's up, Linda? Um, Let me just say hello to everyone.
Hola, hola, everybody.
I can't wait to see you. Hey, Linda. Um,
Hola.
Please make sure that we want to have an engaging conversation. But before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. This is Friday Night Live, and thank you guys for working with me last week because I was not here last week, but I am back. And my name is Tracy Collins, and I am a business strategist for women in leadership. So that is what I do among everything else, but I don't want to get into all of that. I'm gonna let my co-host go.
Who's
Hi,
the
Wanda.
Mom.
Yeah.
Hey, Mama Elwanda, I'm here.
Hi. Hey, Jeanette. Mom, the box came. I'll pick it up on Monday. The notice came. I got my other package on. Okay.
Care packages from Mama.
Wait, you guys go.
Go D.
Hey, I'm D Watkins. I with Brown Girls Invest Too. I have a business that is geared toward helping Black and Brown women save more, spend less, and grow their money through investing in the stock market. I run a YouTube channel, and I am a temporary resident of San Miguel de Allende. I am right now in my home in Atlanta, still making some changes to get my butt back to Mexico.
I will go next, I think. Hi, I'm Bobby Robinson, also known as the Prepared Agent. Also, the second party to Aging Grateful, which is another YouTube channel as well. I reside in San Miguel de Allende as well. I am a real estate professional here in San Miguel. And yeah, I'm ready to get into this topic because I think it is it's time. It's time for us to have it. So if you are looking at moving or thinking about visiting San Miguel, check me out because I also offer neighborhood tours, real estate tours, educational services, as well as helping you to buy and rent real estate. Next.
Hello, I'm Alan Williams, the owner of Core Servicing Solutions, and I too am here in San Miguel de Allende. My business helps other small business run more efficiently by setting up workflows and systems that benefit their business. And I was invited to this conversation. Tracy and Bobby had a powwow, and apparently this is how this came about. So they will be leading today's roundtable.
As we get thrown under the bus. Okay, great.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No, this conversation came about via wing night, and you were there in spirit.
And
Allegedly. There was an alleged wing night that I still don't believe occurred. And I was not there in spirit. Even if you did have an offering plate that symbolized me being there, I was not there.
The fact that there was a wing night without us is a problem.
It
Well,
didn't exist.
that's
It didn't
something
exist.
It
that
didn't
we have
exist. It didn't happen,
started.
right?
We have started wing night here. So if you love chicken wings,
yes. Yes.
Bobby's husband said, who makes the best chicken wings, I don't care, this side of the Mississippi. So, so we have started wing night.
We will have more wing night, guys. Everybody. We will have more wing night.
I
Okay, so
haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
let's get into it, you guys. So let's talk about the move abroad mistakes that people make, ourselves included. We are not exempt from this. You learn a lot in the move abroad process. Um, there are some things that can be avoided or done differently if you know how to move and how to do things. So we are here to shed light upon this conversation. So I say let's start with finances.
Yes.
I'll let you take it over, D.
Thrown under
I
the bus.
got candy in my mouth.
Purposely did that, but that's fine. Yes, let's talk about money. You guys may see people on the internet, if you're in some Facebook groups or something like that, where people are telling you, oh, it's very cheap to move to Mexico or move to wherever you're going. You need to figure out what it's going to cost you to live, right? So I would say that people are looking at things and they'll say, well, can I come in on $1,000 budget or $1,500 budget? I think you should look for the higher end things, only because if whatever the cost is today, it'll be different tomorrow, literally, because of the currency. The currency rate goes up and down. That fluctuates. So you've got to build in some cushion for you just in case it goes up, or in case you find that the things that they were telling you about at a certain price point don't fit the way you want to live. What else you guys got for that?
I have.
Go ahead, Alan. No.
I know something
I
else.
think my 2 cents is that a lot of people do not actually factor in the way in which they want to live.
Yeah.
They think that, okay, like Dee was saying, it's cheap, this and that, but they don't realize, okay, yeah, you could probably find you an apartment for 400 or a house for 5 or 600, but that may not be the way in which you envision your life going forward. You may actually want some of the finer things. You may want access to, shops, cafes closer to downtown, and that comes with the price. And so a lot of people, I think, they see the numbers of, yeah, you can move here for X, but is that how you actually want to exist in a space? And oftentimes people start on a low budget. Speaking about us, I mean, we started on a lower budget, and a year and a half later, we're moving up as far as like our budget, just because we want different things now than we did when we first.
Another thing, adding on to the housing costs, you guys have to consider wherever you're going. Is it cold during a certain period of time? Are you going to want to go get an electric heater or have a heater put in, or is it hot?
Mm-hmm.
Air conditioning is very expensive here. Most people, are we talking about only Mexico? Yeah.
No, I mean we all live in Mexico, you guys. If you are finding out for the first time, we all live in Mexico and in San Miguel de Allende specifically. But Dee has lived in Guadalajara. Bobby has lived in Puerto Vallarta. And so just to give a little bit of context, but not specific to Mexico, but that is our area of which we speak primarily.
So when you're talking about the cost of living, you got to think about, am I going to an area that is super hot? People in the U.S. are accustomed to air conditioning or accustomed to being able to turn the heat on. That's not a thing in Mexico, right? You can, there's some places that will have air conditioning, but if they do, it is going to cost you. And if I remember correctly, if you run your air conditioner for 2 months straight on a continuum, and it gets to an elevated, if it is more than the average person in that area, which it will be, they will make your entire bill for the entire year that set amount, whether you are using it or not. One other thing is I'm going to add in transportation, because that's part of cost of living. People will say, I want to live in a walkable area. So she mentioned that I stayed in Guadalajara to begin with. Guadalajara is the second largest city in Mexico. It is a big city. It feels like a town. If I compare it to another big city, the largest city in North America is Mexico City. In Mexico City, they have everything you need in that one colonia.
Not
Literally.
Guadalajara.
Yeah, not Guadalajara. It might be everything you need on your block. So you can walk to those things. There'll be nice shops and restaurants and all that kind of stuff. If you are in Guadalajara or in another area, if you're in another area, there's a chance you're not going to be able to walk to everywhere you go. So I've found that there are people that'll come there and then they start complaining about how much, not complaining, the Uber costs will start to be more than they anticipated. And if I'm not mistaken, those costs fluctuate as well. So those are the kind of things that you have to overestimate before you go anywhere.
And with the cost of transportation and being in a walkable area, you have to consider piggybacking off of what Dee said. And this ties into finances. Um, the high and low season that Mexico goes on. And right now in San Miguel de Allende, we are in high season, and the Uber costs are more than they would be for the other half of the year because it's tourist season. Right now, we're in the midst of the snowbirds coming down and partaking in the festivities, meaning like folks from the US and Canada. So there are inflated prices with restaurants and Airbnbs and Ubers and taxis, groceries, because we have to eat. You don't want to eat out every day. Groceries are more expensive, especially in the grocery stores. If you like the US items, somebody has to incur the cost of the custom fees and taxes to get things across the border. So, guess who is going to be responsible for that? They have to recoup their costs somewhere. So, you, as the patron, will be paying for that.
And just mentioning in the same city that we're in, if you want those American made products, I know a store that goes to Costco to get those items. I think that's what they're doing. They bring it to their store and then they jack the price up some more.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I want to say this: whatever somebody else has told you as far as their financial outlook or their financial projections for moving will not be yours. I mean, I'm going to be honest. If they say I can keep a budget of $2,000 a month, that's $2,000 a month for them. That doesn't mean it's you. You could be a single person just like they're a single person, but your lifestyle is definitely different from the next person. And also taking into consideration when you're moving, because we're talking about finances, but like you were saying, high season versus low season, there are things that definitely change. Price points change depending upon when you start your process of moving, and that's just anywhere across the board. So I definitely agree with that for the financial perspective. Also, guys, have a good safety net. I am all about the fact of that you should have you an emergency fund set aside before you make the jump. And I know many people will say, I have moved here and I only had $1,000, set aside. No, you need a little bit more than that because you just never know what is going to happen, what's going to occur, where
I
you.
mean, the number of people we have seen, sorry, Bobby, that have not just in Mexico or in San Miguel, but like you've seen other YouTubers who have GoFundMe or, ask you to, send them super chats or anything because their whole lifestyle is dependent upon being funded by other people because they don't themselves have funds to support themselves. And, I've seen it in other communities where people go sight unseen, barely any funds and savings, and just think that that's what's going to hold them over because they listen to someone on the internet tell them that they can live there for cheap. And so they just fly and they go and they're disappointed that it's not as cheap as it's the internet people have told them it is. And so
Mm-hmm.
uh, I think one of the mistakes I've seen is just going places sight unseen without a good emergency fund, like Bobby was saying, without
Mm-hmm.
having actual money in the bank.
Right.
and continuing revenue coming in.
Right.
Go ahead, Dee.
So I just wanted to add one other thing. Don't blow up your finances in the home country that you're from before you leave. Because if you think, oh, I'm not going to pay that loan, I'm not going to pay that stuff. What if you end up having to go back? Now you've let interest accrue, or some type of legal action is going against you now if you didn't make it in the place that you were going to.
Mm-hmm.
Someone asked a good question in the chat. Oh, there you go.
Hey, Yvonne. Do you suggest having Nomad International insurance before moving
I think
there?
that's an individual person's preference. It is always good if you can do it, but it is definitely an individual person's perspective. It just depends on the person, realistically,
I
and having.
I absolutely say yes. When we first moved abroad, we had Safety Wing, but we also had I implemented a medical evacuation policy. I let that go when Honey put us on an actual medical plan here in Mexico, and we pay that quarterly. So if anything were to happen to us in an emergency state, we are covered. And it includes medical evacuation, if I'm not mistaken.
Also, check with for those of you who are going to be working remotely abroad. Just check with your company's plan as well to see if it covers international, because some plans, I think like Blue Cross Blue Shield is an example, they do have,
Sickness.
yeah, they have an international plan for people who are abroad, who are working abroad. So some of these companies do have some form of insurance as well.
I mean, when we're talking about nomad and travel insurance, I think you really have to identify exactly what the insurance is supposed to do. Because we have people in the community, people who have moved abroad with their international insurance, and the international community are like, oh, that's nice, but pay us cash.
Up front.
So, at the end of the day, having the insurance is great. It does not mean when you go to Thailand or Singapore, Portugal, that location is going to take your insurance just because you have, Prudential or Blue Cross Blue Shield or whoever else is out in the world, you know. So
Which is
it,
why the emergency fund is
Comes
also
in.
important.
It comes
You're correct.
in.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's really
having an
important.
insurance that does like the evacuation, because that's not really dependent on where I mean, it could be dependent, so make sure you read your policy. But just because if you want insurance that's going to be like, I want to go to the hospital, I want to go to the doctor, then when you get to country, you get to country's insurance. Don't be like in the US and be like, okay, I'm going to get this international coverage and then go to Mexico. And then Mexico's like, that's cute.
Or it'll be location specific because
Right.
maybe it'll cover Puerto Vallarta, but not Mexico City. Maybe it'll cover Guadalajara, but not San Miguel de Allende. So
Correct.
you really have to look into your move abroad location and what insurances are taken
Maybe
there.
it only covers these hospitals, and these hospitals are only located in these cities, and it's just
And also check, update often, because believe it or not, though you may have one time for enrollment in those providers or in that insurance or healthcare, a lot of times these companies can make changes within that time frame. So also make sure that you are aware of any changes that, keep checking your policy often if that's where you're going to go the route with the company.
Yeah. Do you have something to say?
You're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. I was just going to say, before I moved, I tried to get medical insurance and found out that some of the pre-existing conditions that I have weren't going to be covered anyway. So I opted not to do it. Now, I am putting myself in a little bit of jeopardy because if I do need medical evacuation, that can be, I've heard upwards of like $30,000 or something like that. So I'm not telling you guys to do that. I'm just telling you the situation that I'm in. And even a few months, I'm sorry, last month, I even checked again to consider getting medical insurance, but I opted not to do it. Once again, from Mexico, I just pay out of pocket.
Mhm. So medical evacuation really is what it says. So in the event of an emergency, you can be evacuated out of the country back to your home country. So Mom, when you were here, I actually got a policy on you. I didn't tell you this. I just had it in my back pocket just in case something happened. I already had a medical evacuation policy
He loves you.
already secured. Just in case I wanted to be covered. I wanted you to be covered. Um,
Now, can we get into real
That's
estate?
love right there.
Yeah, that is love.
yeah, let's get into real estate.
Oh my gosh. Listen, the ebbs and flows of what we learn as expats in real estate. There's like kind of have a basis point. I'm of the frame of mind, kind of have a basis point of knowing what's out there in the area that you are going to be moving to, because it definitely helps. We can't come into this with the mindset of where we came from. Everything is not the same. There's regulations that may be happening where you are that do not matter here or in other countries. So we have to be prepared with that. It's a lot of different things that go on with real estate. One of which is we're so used to everything having an XYZ, and sometimes these countries don't have that XYZ. Coming here and thinking that because someone else again came in for $200 for a rental, like Alan was saying, that might not be the way you want to live. It sounds great, but that might not be the way you want to live. And being open and honest about that. Also, another thing too, shall I say it?
Say it, go ahead. I don't know what you're gonna say, but go
I'm gonna
ahead.
say those of you who have a very extremely high budget when it comes
Mm.
to wanting to rent or buy, we also have to be respectful too, because that's one of the reasons why there's a lot of discomfort with people in as far as expats and the views, is because sometimes it's looked upon that we come here and we change the outlook of the economy because of what we want. And a lot of times that hurts as well, coming in and saying, I'm able to pay $5,000 a month for rent. And you're like, yes, I'm going to pay it, but not understanding how that affects the economy too of the local community.
Just because you can pay that doesn't mean that's what the rental is going for. So, there is there's some due diligence and research necessary to ensure that you're getting a good rate, you're not inflating the prices in the community just because you can pay it.
Oh, absolutely. And
Mm.
please don't saying, well, let me say this. We here in San Miguel, this is very much rich culture, rich history, beautiful, older buildings, very nice, but they're also trying to cater to a lot of expats who may want the bells and whistles. Who may want the bells and whistles, if y'all didn't catch that. And very much so, it's very much a very older city, an older town. So a lot of these properties are beautiful. They are expensive, but they need some work. And if you come here saying you want all the XYZs, as I mentioned earlier, you want to sit here and say, I need new everything. I want everything to be clean line, streamlined. I'm sorry. You have to set the expectation about where you are, where you're coming from. You may be able to get something like that more along the lines of something like Mexico City or something of that nature. But here, a
Well,
lot
Mexico City, that shit is dilapidated.
hey, I'm just saying.
I mean, I have my love hate relationship with Mexico. So I love Mexico City for the experience, but as far as the living, it's very vertical living. And unless you are aiming to live in Polanco in that area, you will find more average properties in Mexico
Condos,
City.
condos,
Mhm.
condos, and apartment living is it. But they get some of the modern amenities that we may not see a lot here. I mean, they're starting to cater to it, but the majority, if you're coming here and you're saying you want a house, I'm insulation is not probably a thing that's going to really be here because they're building with, they built with bricks. AC, like we're talking about, you may have to invest in those things because a lot of these houses, especially traditional, don't have those things. Um, Having all the latest and greatest high efficiency everything, you're either going to pay more for it, or it may not be something that exists where you want to be. And those are things, I think, as far as real estate is concerned, that you have to be educated and also be willing to be flexible and change your mindset on.
Get used to the idea of buying your own appliances.
Yes. Or
Like,
for maintenance, doing your
we're
own
talking about refrigerator and stove
refrigerator.
and washing, of
Washer,
course, washing
dryer,
machine.
refrigerator, we bought
Right,
everything.
yeah,
We bought all of our appliances,
yeah,
including our stove when it blew up.
Listen,
right.
what
So
did you say that part? That part. When she
And
said when it blew up, didn't you have to call somebody to go ahead and
yeah,
take care of that, right?
yeah.
Maintenance is really very much a thing here too. As an example, a lot of owners, when you're renting a place, they may say something like, "Oh, I hope you feel at home." Make yourself at home. Do you love the home? Do you really love it? Well, i.e., the translation is it's yours now for this time period you have it. So take care of it as
like
if
it's your home.
it is your home, because
Yeah,
we're not going to be doing anything.
yeah.
That's very much how a lot of owners see it, is that you're wanting this property, then you're going to take care of this property. And so, people ask, well, what about maintenance? How do I get in touch with you if we need maintenance? And that may not be a thing. You may
Have
have
a
to.
maintenance man. And
Absolutely.
and the best way when you come, let me just say this. I think it's very wise to rent the minimum of 1 year in your move abroad location before buying, so you can learn how things are done, what the cost of things are, because when you're coming in, you really have no idea what the cost of things are, what that average price versus what the inflated expat price is going to be. When you
I,
come in, you are going to be paying more because you just have, I don't know. So, with that being said, you come in, you rent, you try out the area, you try out the home, you see if you like it. How's that plumbing? How's that electricity? How is the distance? What's the cost of getting throughout town for the things that I need? Is it as walkable as I thought? Is it as functional as I thought? Like all of these things you don't know. So if you come into the gate and with a purchase, then you're stuck.
I
Because
will.
Bobby,
Okay.
you just heard recently that they just sold a home that was listed on the market for 5 years.
Absolutely. Then just sitting.
Ain't
Uh,
no what didn't
But
happen.
I also say this, I absolutely, if you ever book a consultation, not that I'm plugging myself, but if you ever book a discovery call with me, that is very much one of the things that I address, is that I absolutely think that renting, if this is your first time ever in San Miguel and you don't know much about anything about San Miguel, that absolutely that should be the first thing. Let's not go out the gate buying anything. However, if you've been one of those people, this is my exception. You've been one of those people who have been coming to San Miguel forever.
That's different.
Yeah, you've been loving San Miguel. You've been here a couple of months out of each year. You've been coming for 15 years, and you pretty much know the area. Absolutely, go ahead and buy. But and also say this with rentals, renting is not the end all be all. If you sign that lease, and I'm just saying this, if you're signing a lease and you find that this place is not for you or this area is not for you, you do have the ability to be able to let that go.
Make sure you read the lease first.
Yes.
No,
Because everybody's not.
Yeah, I'm saying this, but I'm saying it is less of an issue than you buying a property. and then saying, I don't like this neighborhood and I don't like this area and I need to leave it. It is harder to put your house on the market to sell it than it is to walk away from a rental or a lease.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I think a lot of people make that mistake by going to a place with minimal interaction and then buy based on the 1 or 2 times that they've been somewhere. They hadn't been there for an extended period of time. And then, they might buy a home or get stuck into a property that they don't enjoy.
Somebody,
And well, go ahead. No, I'm fine.
no, go ahead.
No, that's it. That's it.
I
And
was
it,
just,
we're, go on.
Dee,
I
you're
was
going to
just
say
saying,
something?
in doing that, in the same way that if you're in the US, you want to go check out an apartment or check out a place at different times of the day, at different times of the year, you should do the same thing with the area you're about to move to.
Mm-hmm. That's
and
good.
everybody wants to be in Central. Central is loud.
And expensive.
And expensive, but there are some really great neighborhoods and areas to be had, not just here in San Miguel, because we're talking San Miguel, but anywhere. So just make sure that don't get stuck. Yeah, just don't get stuck in the bubble of what people say is the most popular neighborhoods in wherever you are. Kind of go off the beaten path, take a look at some other areas, because you might find some really great deals and great neighborhoods.
So I just wanted to speak to one thing regarding if you go somewhere to rent. This is the experience I had in Guadalajara. I wanted to break my lease, and I thought I had read I thought I understood my lease very well, but apparently I didn't. I thought that if I broke the lease, I would have to pay, I think it was 2 months of rent, and I'm done. That's not what it was. It was 2 months of rent plus what was remaining on the lease. I had to get a lawyer to get out of that. Luckily, there were some other things going on at the unit that they just they let me off the hook. I didn't have to pay it, but read your lease very carefully.
Also, translating the lease. I mean, if you're in a foreign country, and a lot of times in these foreign countries, the language of that country supersedes wherever you come from. So here in Mexico, Spanish supersedes whatever English version that they provide to you, if they provide it to you. So it is very important that you translate and read that lease and clarify some information. If you have anything that needs to be clarified, that is very much important in the not just in rental, but also with buying as well.
Bobby, can you answer Daphne's question, please?
Mm-hmm. Daphne, I will say that this varies, because it just depends upon the neighborhood. Because you're saying nice 1 bedroom, and nice is
It's nice.
interpretation. Exactly, nice is up to interpretation. Everybody's definition is different. So to actually answer this question would kind of be quite tricky, which is kind of why I have discovery calls, because it's based upon what you're determining that to be. Because some people think a 1 bedroom, studio, or a 1 bedroom apartment where it doesn't have any views, or it just depends on the area, the location, and what you consider nice, if I could say that. And that's not being mean. That's just saying I need to know a little bit more about you, because there are a variety of different price points, just depending upon where you want to be. Good. Now,
So let's talk about lack of forming community.
Oh, this is a touchy.
Yeah.
Be prepared to be open when it comes to moving
Tell me
somewhere.
more. Tell me more. I'm
Tell you
listening.
more. Yes.
What did y'all discuss?
You have to be open to seeing what is really around you when you're moving to someplace new. Don't just assume that things are like the status quo from where you're from, or that is even something that's a welcoming to that area, because that may not necessarily be the case. You want to take a pause and a step back and maybe kind of see what is going on in the area that you're moving to before actually launching out and just taking the reins and saying, I'm here, this is me, this is what I'm doing. And it may disrupt or make things a little bit uncomfortable for you if you're pushing yourself out of the gate and not knowing what's already around you or what things are happening already.
You want to build community, because if there's no sense in you recreating the wheel for everything you're about to do. This is all new to you. So get with the people that have already done it, right? And not just one or two people, several people. I don't know how to turn my gas on. Go talk to this person. They've done it. These are the steps they went through to be able to do that. So again, it's no reason for you to hit your head. You don't have to bump your head. Talk to people that have already done the thing that you're trying to do.
I'm waiting on the other two to speak. That's all.
I agree. Oh, right. Okay. Fixing my hair. I definitely agree with that. I think it's important to get to know.
Am I frozen?
Yeah.
Yes. It's a good frozen look. I need to take a picture of that.
Yeah, take a screenshot.
Yes.
I think it's important to get to know more than just what's in your area, more individuals, and really putting yourself out there. It may feel uncomfortable, but that's a part of making community, letting people know who you are, introducing yourself, intermingling with other people who have been here longer than you. It's uncomfortable because we're not used to it because of being from the States primarily. And putting yourself out there's a lot of judgment that you may fear can take place. But honestly, I think when you move abroad, it's the opposite. The lack of not putting yourself out there will do you a disservice, because really when things happen, it's going to be your community that you're going to lean on. And you want to kick it with them.
Yes. You want to have fun. You want to be, I'll say here, I've learned that just being here, you get an opportunity to really take a beat, take a minute to find out who you really are, stripping the layers of all the stuff that, I'll say as an example in the US, all the fluff and stuff that comes with being there, and being here is totally different. I can honestly just organically be me, right? And then organically enjoy other people and be in that space and being real. So it's not a lot of fluff. And I know it's hard to imagine, but you
Bobby,
don't.
Alan, put yourself on mute so we can alleviate Bobby's feedback, see if that works.
Is it? Dee, do you have a chat up at the same time? Or no?
Chat?
No, let's just mute, because Bobby, we're getting feedback from you when we're not on mute. But keep going.
Space I'm in. But I was just saying that it's here in this community, I can say that it has been very much a real connection, a real experience behind what I do and all of that. It is really about getting to know who I am and getting to know other people as they are, and all the other stuff pales in comparison. And it's refreshing to have that and to come into this space. And it may take time for you to break down who you are, if I could say that. And so sometimes it could feel like it's a little bit uncomfortable, but just know that you don't have to go the extra mile. We just want to get to know who you are. And I think a lot of times we come into an environment thinking that we have to have the pomp and circumstance, and we got to check all the boxes of our accolades of what we've done and who we are or who we were. None of that is necessary.
We don't care about none of that. When I tell you, we don't care. We don't care about that shit. Let me tell you what we care about. We care about the core of who you are. And the problem with me Why I have to stay quiet is I can see through that bullshit. So I just will be quiet. I'm like, I can't do it because what Bobby just said, we don't care what you, that pomp and circumstance and all that comes with it. We don't care. We
What is it
care
going to
about
do for
who
us?
are you? And we care about the fact that when you move abroad, and this is the reason why we did the Redefining Life Abroad Summit, and it was named that even though people had difficulty interpreting what the name of that summit meant, it really was designed for learning yourself anew in this new life that you have created or creating for yourself. And to be honest, you guys, when I tell you now that I've reached my year mark and that we've all surpassed a year abroad, you don't even know who you are when you're your first year abroad. You are trying to find your footing, simultaneously getting adjusted to new culture, new custom, new language, new currency, everything. And so when you come in and you and it's hard because we've been conditioned so much with the United States. It's all about what you can produce, improve. When you get abroad, we don't care about that. We don't care. What we care about is authenticity and the core of who you are. Now, if the core of who you are, if you ain't shit, then I can't help you there. I really don't want to deal with you. But give yourself grace to evolve. And what we're seeing is people are coming in just expeditiously, and it's like, oh, really? This how you think it is? Well, I'll see you in a year,
Yes.
maybe.
Yes. When you get your real self together, holla at
Give
us.
yourself
Yeah.
grace. And to answer this question, I love this question, Yvonne. Yes, the Mexican residents, like the people of the country. Oh my gosh, I love walking down the Ancha and I can go in certain shops and they know who I am. We know each other. Sid and Jean, they went to a barbecue last week, and I hate that I didn't get the invitation because I'm gonna have to insert myself
Me
next
too.
time. I'm
Me
gonna have
too.
to force myself because I got some Mexican cousins I need to meet. So I'm gonna let them, like Alan and Bobby, talk about their husband's experience. But when I tell you, when Jean was talking about it last night, it was like I was living vicariously through them. You
Me
know
too.
what Tupac said when we in Poetic Justice when they showed up to the family reunion, it was like cousin. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Cousin.
Alan. Yeah.
Me?
By me, it was our
I
cousin.
mean,
It was
I
our
mean
cousin.
the idea of like community is not meant for everyone. And there's going to be people who decide to go to a place with no intention of being beneficial to the community and with intention to be like someone who takes and drains from it and doesn't give to it. So when we say like, if you are going somewhere, it is a great opportunity for you to redefine who you are, to put yourself out there when you don't normally do that in the States. And it's stuff as simple as saying, hello to your Mexican neighbors, asking them what their name is, learning how to speak Spanish, like, just really saying yes to opportunities when they come up, when you would normally say no because maybe you feel a little unsure or scared or something, and not remain in the enclave of foreigners. It's important that you definitely branch out and you find the community of people who are actually willing to embrace you and help you. But I don't, there's people all throughout who have left the States and are fine being isolated. And that's fine for them. That works for them. But they don't stay where they are long. They tend to leave. Um,
And
And I
then they
think that's what
complain
makes
about the place.
Yeah. I think to Alan's point, that's what makes San Miguel so beautiful is because when we come here, people actually make it their long-term home. Like it's the intention to stay. Even there's been so many people more so than not, they come here just to explore, then they'll be like, oh, wait a minute. I need to go back. Oh, I didn't know it was like this. And it really just sucks those in who are called to the place. So putting yourself out there.
I don't know how many emails I get from people who have traveled here for a vacation just for a bit, and then I'm like, okay, you have seen San Miguel, and I always say, yeah, you'll be messaging me saying that you want to come back to rent or buy something, and it never fails. I always get an email or a WhatsApp message or something saying, I really did like it. Can you tell me like what rentals were in this specific neighborhood or something like that? Because it really becomes a place, if you're called to it, it really becomes a place of home where you're feeling like it's home for you. So absolutely agree with that.
It's like sunshine. And man call his wife and say, I ain't never coming home. Put your mouth on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is. That's what San Miguel is all about.
And we're
But
not here to sell you on San Miguel. We just want you guys to avoid the move abroad mistakes, like not putting yourself out there, meeting people, immersing yourself in the local community. What
don't do
else?
too much. But don't do too
Not resolving your US lifestyle. Like that is something, like you have people who have just up and exited the United States, but they haven't resolved it fully. They haven't resolved it, and so they have to. And this isn't about just not about anybody, because I know D's in the States right now, but yet they haven't resolved their US, and so they still have to deal with that aspect of their life, and then that increases their expenses because they have to travel. They're not actually fully 100% prepared. I mean, these are just mistakes that we've seen
and made.
and made because all of us have had to travel multiple times within the year,
Oh,
and it's part of the process. But then
it
that
is.
also speaks to having the disposable income necessary to do those trips when you have to. And oftentimes people, they uproot and they go, um, and they don't have the actual disposable income to set up life in one place and then leave if shit hits the fan. And we've seen those people on YouTube, TikTok,
Facebook.
all of those, all Facebook, and you've seen them, and you're just wondering, like, why did you do that if you don't have the money to get back home? Why are you doing a fundraiser if you don't have this money to fund your lifestyle? You shouldn't be living towards every month, or basically putting all of your eggs in that one basket, hoping it pans out. And I get the idea of taking a risk, and some risks give you great rewards, but I'm a firm believer in having a great backup plan.
Anyone? D?
It's on another subject. I gotta wait.
Oh, no. Go ahead.
Uh, well, well, two things. She just brought up flying back and forth. Um, I lived in Guadalajara. There's a major airport there. There's no major airport in San Miguel. You either got to go an hour one way or an hour and a half another way to get to the airport. So if it's not a highly used airport, it's going to be more expensive to travel. At least for me, tends to be very expensive. Maybe it's because I'm making short. I'm not giving myself enough time while I'm booking my flights, but it's an expensive thing to do.
No, it's expensive, D, because Honey has had to go back to Atlanta 3 times out of the last year, and where we are, it's a minimum of $700 to $800 one way to go to Atlanta
Yeah.
and back. And if I were to go to the Bay, to Oakland, it's about, I think it's 300 and something round trip nonstop.
Is
Both of
that
these,
business or is that Maine?
that's Maine. Now, if you
Oh,
want to go first class, you're paying like at least 900
yeah.
for Atlanta.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, if you book your ticket in advance, $900, you can definitely get a business class ticket from here back to the States. Easy peasy. But when it comes to like last minute travel,
Yeah.
your budget's blown.
So, Kioka, I didn't do scouting trips with other countries. Well, I take that back because we did go to Costa Rica on our honeymoon, and I was actually scouting Costa Rica just mentally, considering that because that was actually my first choice before coming to Mexico. But I knew I wanted to be in a Latin country. So, and in Mexico, we scouted 8 cities. So, all of Quintana Roo, Cancun, Playa Tulum, Merida, Puebla City, Mexico City, Guadalajara, Puerto Vallarta. We came to San Miguel de Allende, unsight unseen, and stayed. And since then, I've been to Bacalar. So I'm in 9 places in Mexico, but I absolutely believe in scouting trips. I think it's essential because where you think, and even in our case, we thought we were going to live in Mexico City, and vacationing is one thing, scouting is another, setting up life is a whole nother process. So, but scouting trips I think with a scouting trip, if you are certain about a country and or a location, you should at least be in said place for a minimum of 3 months to get a full understanding of the way of life, and do not stay in a resort. You want to stay in a community.
For me, I scouted Spain and Italy, and I had already been to the east coast of Mexico. So before I settled on Guadalajara, I went to Puerto Vallarta first, and then eventually followed Tracy and Jay to San Miguel.
The only place I visited was Puerto Vallarta. Moved there, lived there for 13 months, came here to San Miguel for a week. And these ladies made sure that I had a good time. My family had a good time. My daughter had a good time. And before you know it, we were back in Puerto Vallarta, pack up our stuff. And 3 weeks later, we were here in San Miguel and here to stay.
Felicia, we live, girl.
No replay, we live.
And hey, Chicago, I'm from Chicago.
Me too. Chi-town.
Yeah. Um, the other thing, I mean, we hadn't gotten into it, but weather. I
I
want
was
to
gonna say
talk
that's
location. So if you're coming to Mexico, you need to consider where you're going. Again, Guadalajara for me, I was in the interior of the country. We are in the interior of the country, but I have friends that are living. I don't know how Cancun has been affected, but we have just witnessed 2 huge hurricanes that devastated cities and states in the U.S. But those same storms also pretty badly ravaged the East Coast,
Yucatan.
the Yucatan Peninsula. Yes. So a lot of folks you'll hear,
and Acapulco. So
See,
East and
Yeah.
West.
and
Yeah.
she's got that
Acapulco.
experience.
Mhm.
Yeah, and Bobby also had that experience in Puerto Vallarta, right?
yep.
So it's one thing if, like, again, I'm from Chicago. I'm not used to tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes. That ain't my thing. So if you've not been through some things like that, you again need to look at the area that you're going to and look year round what happens for that city or that state, whatever that you're going to. What do they experience throughout the year? Because these people literally within 2 weeks had to deal with 2 hurricanes, right? And so if it had hit them directly, you're starting over. I went to Guadalajara. I wasn't used to that kind of flooding. I've never been through that. Now, I've lived in a high-rise unit, but I also drive there. And I've seen flooding where the water is coming up while someone's sitting in their car up to here. That's not something that I was expecting. And that's something you guys have to look at prior to going to wherever you're going to land.
So I just dropped the link in the chat. I have a Move Across scorecard, and because I am from the Bay Area and I grew up with earthquakes, I didn't want to live in a place where, earthquakes can happen because you don't get warnings like tornadoes and hurricanes. Earthquakes happen when they want to because plates shift because the earth constantly moves, and you can be greatly affected. Mexico specifically is a very seismic country. Not only that, there's plenty of earthquakes, there's hurricanes, but we also have volcanoes that are active. So we have one in Puebla City, and it can erupt, and you could still be affected by it. So you want to consider natural disasters. And in the Move Abroad scorecard that I just dropped the link in the bio, that was actually not the bio, the chat, the scorecard that we utilized in our scouting trip. I have a very anal spouse, and I feel like sometimes she got one foot in the US and one foot in Mexico. And the only reason why she's hanging on with that foot, because it's probably tied to me. So, with that being said, she likes things a certain way and access to goods. And we had to meticulously stick to this list because you're checking boxes off. Where's the local airport? How far away is it? How are the grocery stores? What's the cost of living? All of the things. So if you want that, that's there. It ain't,
Also,
go ahead.
well, let me say this too. Very much, I'm from Arizona. So when we moved to Puerto Vallarta, the first thing that shocked us was humidity. So also, it's not just about the natural disasters with weather, it is about what you can tolerate as well. Because the humidity is real. We weren't prepared for it. Arizona's very dry. And spending that year with high temperatures, whether they say higher than normal these past couple of years, not just in the US, but all across the world, they had unseasonable different temperatures higher. And so that heat with that humidity was definitely not a thing that I enjoyed. People and learning what you want and don't want too, because everybody's for the sand and the beach and the water, loving that. But I learned very quickly over that year that, after being at the beach the 100th time, that we were not beach people. We were just not beach people. And unfortunately, it looks pretty. Everybody loves the social media, but to live there on a daily basis was not something that we found that was for us. So also keep those things in mind about weather, just in general seasons.
And it also salt water messes up your devices in your car if you
And
were to have,
furniture.
and furniture. So this is another thing that we see, speaking about furniture. The reason why people say don't bring your furniture abroad is because of part of it is because of the cost, the shipping cost, and you can rebuy everything, but also because of climate. The materials are made differently to withstand the climate in said area. So you may be bringing something from a tropical environment, and the climate that you're coming to is very high in the mountains, cold, dry, and dusty. Hence San Miguel, it is. And so your furniture may not be able to withstand. So not only did you have to pay the cost of shipping your things, now you have to rebuy anyway because now it's destroyed because it can't stand the climate.
And often, I think Mexico doesn't even like you to bring wood into the
No.
country
That's correct.
I think for their termites or something like that. So those are things you have to consider.
Mm-hmm. As far as childcare for working parents, schools, we don't have small children, but we have a really good friend, Danielle, who does, and Michelle, of course, and their children are doing really, really well in the schools. However, they do pay for the schools that they're in, but the cost is not like the private school costs in the United States.
Also, there's online as well, schools. If you want to continue to have your children go to school, US, there are online options, and there's also homeschooling too. So,
did any of you do an astrocartography to find the right place for you? I have a friend who did one for me, and mine is actually Zihuatanejo, and Honey's is actually, go figure, Mexico City. So an astrocartography is it's a really extensive birth chart that goes into what's the best place for you to live in and thrive there. So Zihuatanejo by plane for us where we are is like 50 minutes away 45 minutes away by plane.
I did my own, and it actually crosses very close, like between Mexico City and San Miguel.
Aw, so you're supposed to be in Querétaro.
No, I'm not. I'm supposed to be right where I'm at.
Built
Okay.
for San Miguel, okay?
You try look, you didn't invite me to wing night, and now
Mm-mm.
you're trying to kick me out
Sister
of the
Annie?
city?
Wow. We
Child,
were
Wow.
there. I don't understand why you guys don't
I was
remember.
not there. I was not there. Okay. Jean holding up a phone
neither of
was
them
not
remember.
there.
Neither of them remember being there. So, how about this? We'll have another wing night soon. Okay. Okay.
Child, they're not gonna let us live it down.
No.
So
Absolutely
Nope,
one
not.
of the,
not gonna happen.
one of the things that we absolutely love, thanks Michelle for the plug, is
Yes.
that we have a chicken guy. We're Michelle knows where this person is, but they have all they sell is fresh chicken, like still with the feathers. You know how your grandmama used to have to pick the feathers out the chicken? So they will bring any size, not any size, yeah, any cut, whole, or whatever of what it is that you want and deliver it fresh to your house within
Yes.
an
Another
hour.
reason why you need community, because how else
Another
would we
reason why
know
you
about the
need
chicken guy if
Exactly.
we did not know each other?
right. So we have a chicken guy.
Yeah, we have a chicken guy.
We have a chicken guy. We have we
Have
share, I
a
think,
housekeeper lady.
housekeeper. Yeah.
Some of us
Um,
have chefs.
yeah.
The same.
Yeah. So a lot of us, I mean, share some of the same service people.
Mhm.
Me and someone else share the same chef. I think we all share the same cleaning person, um, same
Same
maintenance
doctor.
guy,
Doctor.
same water person.
Mhm. Water
So
delivery service.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
community is important is basically what we're all saying.
Yeah.
San Diego.
Anything else?
Somebody was talking about San Diego right now. Things skyrocketing in price.
But I'm thinking
San
of
Diego.
taking.
Yeah, pretty much anywhere outside of the U.S., you probably would do better, cost effectively living somewhere else, honestly. And if you think it's expensive where you live, you're going by the expenses of the area you are in. You are probably not going to pay anywhere near that somewhere else.
Correct.
Mhm.
And you're buying, yes, the chicken man and the cleaning crew. Yes. Come on with it.
Jessica said probably not Mexico. I thought the same way, girl, and I'm from the Bay. So until I stepped foot in the country, I didn't understand what the hype was about. I really didn't. I was like, why is everybody going to Mexico? Why? What's the
But
big deal?
but
And then
let's talk about the mistake of not hiring people.
ooh,
Because you still have people who come
Yeah.
abroad somewhere and don't
and will
want.
hit you up in your DMs for questions.
Yeah, I mean, and don't want to actually, one, pay for the service, pay for the ease of access. And
Come on.
this is not just for people who give consultations, but also people who work in your home. Because what is the point of going somewhere if you're not alleviating some of that stress you once had? If you're going to still be working, why are you still cleaning? Why are you still cooking? Why are you still driving yourself? Why are you still doing anything for yourself? If you're working, like I want to just arrive and that's it. I don't want to do anything else. And being okay with like if I'm making money, then that money should be working for me and making my life easy. And so, there are people who don't want to pay for the amount of information other people have or pay for someone else's time to do something because they feel like they can do it themselves. And I'm telling you, you're wasting so much time when you do that. And
And
I mean, time and money, like what you're paying for is someone else's trial and error that they've already experienced, and now they have the expertise, and now you're fast pacing yourself forward. But that's one mistake that I've seen a lot. And just to summarize, just with service workers in the house, hire the cleaning person, hire the chef, use Uber or a private driver, like be okay with that kind of spending, because at the end of the day, it makes your life easier when you do that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I, I've seen people. Right now, I live 2 steps above where I would live in Chicago or in Atlanta, just because I'm not going to pay that kind of money for services in the States, right? I see people come to Mexico and ball out on their housing. They'll go to the top of their income level, or of their expense level in their housing. But then now you're stuck with doing all those other things. You don't have to do that to get a really nice place. You can not live at the top, live somewhere mid-level, and then take the difference of that money and pay for the services like she's speaking of. I don't do a good job cleaning up. I just don't. Those ladies come in and do a fabulous job. And that allows me to go do something else that I'm better at, right? Or that I can generate money while they're doing part of the things to keep me going. Or I don't have a chef. I would like one, and I probably will get one soon. I'm not, no shade or anything, but the cleaning portion, that's huge for me.
Mhm.
Well, I
Also,
had a cleaning person in the States. That's a non-negotiable for
yeah,
me. I
I'll also
did.
say this: paying for education. You have so many people, and this is not just a being a broad thing. This is just in general. When you have people who have businesses or have done research, or as Alan said, have this experience, this lived experience that they're willing to share, those things didn't come free to those people. And so I think there has to be also a level of respect, if you will, and being able to understand that there's an expertise here that may even cut your time of doing whatever short, or make it a success or a win-win for you by paying that money. You're exchanging someone's expertise for and paying them for it, their time and their money. Even something as simple as, like we were saying, discovery calls, or maybe downloading some type of a book or a pamphlet, or taking a course. Those are things that are created to help people, and people's time is valuable. If you're reaching out, this is my little plug. I'll get off my soapbox. If you DM somebody or message somebody, that is time that somebody is taking away from whatever it is they're doing to address those concerns. And a lot of times, going to either their website or their social media, you can see that there are links, or there's areas to download things, or ways to contact them appropriately. And that may also come with a cost, because time is money, time is valuable. And I do want to stress that. But also, when you're here, making sure that you also respect those people, if you're abroad, that you're using as far as service workers or people that are helping you, that their time is also valuable.
Well, let me say this too. Our scouting trips were expensive. Honey got sick of coming back and forth to Mexico. I was like, if you want to stay married to me and keep me happy, you better come, right? So luckily, I married somebody who loves me enough to do that and took that risk. But I'm not going to spend that much money on myself and then give it to somebody else for free. I'm not. So if you were to DM me, you either are getting an automatic message of, hey, here's a general answer, or I'm going to direct you somewhere. And the reason why I do that is because we invested that money so we could acquire the knowledge, and the people that we spoke to, we paid in advance for knowledge too and access. So I'm not going to be the one to just give it away for free. My giving it back is, Friday Night Live and experiences like this. But when, just like Bobby said, we put things in certain places so people can access them with ease to make your transition more effective, energy, time, and cost-wise.
Absolutely. But we've had fun, all right, sharing with our experiences. Is there more?
You see Alum in our face, right?
What am I supposed to say?
The same look. Does anybody have questions? You guys are really good at dropping questions.
Yeah. Anybody have questions? Hey,
Yeah,
this
if
is
you have questions, now is a great time
absolutely.
to ask them. One of the things that like is like my pet peeve, and this is not necessarily about moving abroad, but this is like business, is people who feel like they have access to you. Um, like send you messages, D knows this, send you messages in like your DMs and all this other stuff, and just feel like you're waiting for them to press play. Like that's all you've been doing, and you've been sitting there waiting for them to press play.
Wait a minute. Where do you explain more? Because it feels
Like,
like you're jumping around.
well, like, you have some people who have seen us on YouTube or seen us in Redefining Life, and then they'll send like, oh, I have a quick question. Like, I just been sitting here at the computer waiting for you to press the play button, and now I'm activated. And that has always been like a pet peeve of mine. Like, like Bobby was saying, like there are means in which you can contact us. There are means in which you can, reach out to people. And no one else's business is like that. But for some reason, people, when they see you and they feel like they've had the one on one attention in either YouTube or other sessions, they feel like they have this really personal access, and now we're friends and I could just chat it up. And I'm like, no, 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 my calendar's full. I would love to, please book. But that was just my mini rant. I was just thinking about that as Bobby was saying. I'm like, no, I'm not here like waiting for you to hit the play button and then I'm activated like Chat GPT.
Well, I'm not waiting on anybody to do it like Chat GPT, but I am waiting on people to go ahead and book and come see. Yeah. Contact me on my website and book a neighborhood tour or a real estate tour. That's
And
Yes.
that's a really good point too, because of what I do being so niche. Like I work with women in leadership, and then some of my clients are women in leadership transitioning abroad. So
Mhm.
I'm working with them simultaneously to not only transition their business and build their brands, but I'm also helping them navigate the streets of moving abroad. And so, because real estate is not my area of expertise, and if they're coming specifically here to SMA, then I'm partnering with Bobby. I'm bringing her business in, or like I have another client who says, I need to get to, Alum to talk to X, Y, and Z. Then, that's what's happening. We are inter-referring clients or business to one another. And for us, we that's just something that we have decided to do. But really, that's one of the things that I absolutely love about here is none of our businesses overlap. Like nobody is in the same field. Everybody has a very niche expertise. And so we're able to support each other in that regard.
absolutely. Somebody says a question for the panel before we leave. What's everyone's expertise?
So for
Mine
me,
is project management and software implementation. I have 20 years of experience in both, helping small, medium, and large organizations implement software as far as like all of the setup necessary, QA and testing, and training and other support services. And so I take that and I help small businesses implement software into their small business that can help them run more efficiently.
and I've used her services, and she's gotten me together. I'm Dee. My expertise is in personal finance and helping people learn to invest. I have been investing for the past 35 years. 35 years in the stock market, 28 years in real estate. I'm not doing anything with real estate, but that's how I help to build my wealth. So a lot of times I find that people are afraid to invest or don't know what to invest in. I kind of walk people through that, even to the point of helping them with their employer sponsored plans. A lot of times you'll get thrown into a fund or something that's underperforming mostly. And until you learn to do a few certain things, you won't be growing as fast or as quickly as you would want, or building your wealth as fast as you would like to do that. So I help people get more in touch with their money and start to build wealth through investing.
Oh, and I am the prepared agent. I am a real estate professional here in San Miguel de Allende. My job is to show you how beautiful and incredible San Miguel is. I provide neighborhood tours, real estate tours. I assist you with renting and buying property as well as selling it also, but also to educate you on the process. I think that is so important because everything can move fast in transactions such as that. And my job is to make sure that you're comfortable and that you get the space that you're needing in the home that you want.
And what I do, I have been an entrepreneur for over 20 years, and my expertise is business strategy and development and also women's wellness. I work specifically with women in strategizing and building their brands front and back, meaning like your front facing business and the back end as far as the management, implementation, scalability, and monetization of your business. I also audit businesses. So if I'm looking at a website, I'm looking at how is this brand alignment speaking to your actual demographic that you want to attract. And then what else? I'm also author and a speaker as well. Yeah. Anything else? Did we cover? Did we do good, Yvonne? Did we do good?
Yes.
And also,
San Miguel is beautiful, Pamela.
it is. SMA is amazing.
Yes.
It is.
Hello to the panel. I need to run. Oh,
Can each of us throw our websites in there, or
yeah. I think you can be able to. My website. Oh shit, it's linked. I'll put it in there. But also, I want to make sure that everybody follows each other. So we all have YouTube channels. So make sure you follow everybody here. I have linked Bobby, Alum, and D in the description of this. So you can follow them there, but please be sure to follow everybody. And I think that we will all link our websites in the chat.
Thank you,
But,
Butterfly.
but I do, I want to say one thing. I do want to say one thing. Butterfly Effect, you are absolutely right.
Yes.
What you say?
And remember, I have a halo, okay?
I have a crown. I just put mine on last night.
I'm the nice one.
No.
I am.
and just think about how she got at y'all. No, just
No, but you are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. And we love meeting people.
Absolutely.
But I just want to tell a story about
Go.
how I can't tell the story about how we
Go.
were.
No, go. I said go.
Yeah, because I want to tell a story about how we were like interrogated.
Girl.
Okay, I wasn't there, so good.
You weren't there, but there was a meet and greet that was proposed, and we went with the idea of like, oh, we're meeting someone new. And unfortunately, that person came with an agenda of like, I want to interrogate. I say interrogate because that's what it felt like, but it was like they were using that opportunity to ask us a bunch of questions for their own research purposes, for their own like professional development. And that wasn't like the way it was presented to us when we got together in our meet and greet. And I say that to say it's like we love to meet people, but we love to meet people in their most genuine state. And we love to meet them when they are genuinely there to make friends and want to get to know you and want to build relationship and community, not because they want to take and use you and your information to benefit them and then run away with it. And that is something that I always remember because it's just something that kind of left a bad taste in my mouth when I met that person. And I don't want that to be the relationship that people think Like they can come and they can make friends. And now I'm going to pepper you with 25 questions and write all these questions down and then use it to benefit myself, or maybe sell it later as a book or something, because I thought we were going to be meeting a new friend and it didn't turn out that way.
Yeah. Pamela, yes, I did meet you at the bank. I was the one. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Yvette. She says, Yvette, you already friends. Come on. Come on, plant girl. You already our friend. But she was curious, how would you make your friends abroad with others without overstepping, like with interest in moving abroad or something within your expertise, guys?
Everybody loves to go eat.
There you go.
Hey, let's go to dinner. Like absolutely.
Yeah, everybody, you will have us usually, but I think this is a good question, because
Yes.
sometimes people will come here and be like, well, where are all the Black people, or where's everybody? And we're not tourists. We're not out exploring the city 9 times out of 10. We're at home, or we're, running our errands, or we're working or doing something like that, just as you would at home. And so when people say, well, I'm coming to town, let's meet up, it's like, imagine if we would do that for everybody. It's not realistic. Fortunately, here in SMA, it's a very festive town, and there's always something going on. And if you are wanting to come to SMA, be sure to join the Black SMA group, because all of the events are listed there. Michelle does the monthly meetup. And you can meet people there. When we first got here, we did go to the monthly meetup, and that's where we met, still like the core group. That Alan wasn't there, Bobby wasn't there, but Dee, me, Honey went. Michelle and I met there, met Elton and Danielle, and it just kind of went from there. But it did feel uncomfortable, and I'm not even a shy person initially to put myself out there like that. But I'm so glad that I did. But we all love to go eat.
And
And
that's amazing.
Just as an example, someone just said they saw Bobby in the bank. We literally walk down the street and see people, and we have yelled out the car. I'm out the car or wherever, just seeing someone say, "Hey, how you doing?" And we end up talking to those people and go eat. Right?
I mean, we've crashed other people's lunches. Like if you're walking and you see someone sitting down, you would crash lunches. Like, hey, can I join you? And it's just it's more genuine and authentic as far as relationship building. And yeah, we were like treated as human subjects for a research project. Don't do that.
But also,
The problem is when people are coming and they know what you do, and they're trying to get at you for that, or something that they perceive that you have, I think.
well, another thing too, Yvette, you're saying, because another thing is something that you absolutely have done, and I think that that's brilliant and wonderful, and this is a good way of connecting. You're on our YouTube channels, you're connecting with us, you're commenting, and it's just not, a one-off. You're here and you're engaging, and we know that, we see you.
And
So
it's not transactional.
yeah, so it's just a general, this is just a genuine conversation we're having. The comments that you're putting in after watching the videos, we can tell, right? You can tell when people are genuine and people are not. And so if that's the kind of line of thinking you're talking about as far as making friends abroad with others, and maybe you're still in the States, but you're very much wanting to connect with people in other countries, I think absolutely going the social media route of commenting, and being very, very genuine in what you're doing online with other people who are on YouTube or Instagram or whatever social platform. I think doing exactly what you're doing is showing how great you are, and your genuine questions or concerns about the area and who we are.
Child, Yvette will have me at Tracy, let's go plant shopping.
Yeah.
I'm going.
Oh, the calendaria.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
speak
We would love that.
to the love languages, and you will make friends.
Yes.
And food, and for Tracy, plants and food are the thing. And there you go. I mean, making friends as an adult is very scary, because you are having to yourself out there. We all have made friends with each other as, grown ups essentially. And it's a very scary thing to have to put yourself out there, but like these are my favorite people in the whole wide world. Don't tell my husband I said that.
Mine either.
But it's just like I've made these with friends after I've left the States, and I would have never made them in the States. It would just have never happened.
Never happened. It would have never happened had we
Absolutely.
stayed there.
And I
Had
just
we.
the importance of like Facebook groups.
Mhm.
Originally, I went to Guadalajara. I visited. I met some people at dinner, right? And then I kept in touch with them over time. Some
Yeah.
people are my friends today, right? Even though they're no longer in Guadalajara, nor am I. But a genuine connection was formed, and we continued on our relationship. Same thing here.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
yeah.
So I hope this was helpful to you guys. We really, we want you guys to just be informed. And there's a way, I also think there's like a move abroad etiquette that's unspoken. And I think how you learn that etiquette is connecting, like Bobby said, with people in said area, especially if that is high on your list to either visit and or live. But putting yourself out there, doing something different to get the results that you're seeking, especially since you are transitioning your life abroad. One thing we didn't necessarily fully go into was mindset, like really shedding that mindset of the United States and how you think you should show up and or be versus allowing yourself to become new. Yes, church finger.
You were going to touch on mindset, and I just thought about it because you're right. We did not go into that, and that's a big step. And part of the reason why some people fail when they go abroad is because they haven't done the deep dive in their own healing from whatever traumas they experience in the state, childhood trauma, adult trauma, work trauma, US trauma, any of those traumas, and not seeking the right kind of help, like therapy, to help them navigate the real healing, the ugly cry healing that's necessary to come out on the other end so you can fully, walk into your whole person.
Mhm.
100%.
Yeah,
We'll be back in the States.
And get ready for change. Don't expect what you don't expect things to be as fast or bureaucracy is gone, all that kind of stuff. Those lend to mindset as well.
And just be willing to learn and be willing to set some new expectations.
Yes.
mhm,
That I think is huge. If you go into this saying, okay, I need to take a step back and learn what is going on where I'm at and not come with, well, this is what I expect it to be or what I have seen in my past or where I currently came from. That's not going to work and not be successful for you here. It's not. It's not because we are immigrants in someone else's country, and we have to be respectful, even if we don't agree. We have to
yeah.
be respectful of where we are or what we're calling home. So yeah, absolutely.
I love being an immigrant in Mexico.
Yeah, me too. As I'm sitting in the office, me too. Me
Yeah,
too.
There's
I,
something really beautiful about seeing unifying culture in a country as opposed to a place that doesn't quite have a unifying culture, that
yeah,
is like uplifting and joyful and celebratory. It's really beautiful seeing this like really celebratory culture here that's unifying in deep
yeah.
history. I love it. I love seeing the Mexican people just
Oh yes.
I do too.
enjoy themselves.
When I tell you, you guys, you were robbed. We've all been robbed, and you really get to understand the level. We know it, but to the degree of how much we've been robbed when you witness this kind of cultural unification. Because with Mexico, there are Mexican people are very, very proud people of their culture, where they come from, and their country. And so they want to share that. But you also get a sense of like, damn, like we never got that. So just to be able to witness it is an honor and a blessing. All right, you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this Friday Night Live. I thank my co-hosts. Um,
Wing night soon. Wing night soon.
I appreciate them so much for joining and lending their level of expertise to this conversation. We want you guys to have a smooth, effective, long transition abroad and a happy transition abroad, and there's ways to do it. So I did drop the link to the Move Abroad scorecard, which is a guide to help with your scouting trips should you be considering. I dropped it in the chat again. Be sure to like this video, please subscribe to this channel and subscribe to everybody's channel because YouTube is a lot of work, y'all. And we come on here and we impart information and our expertise on our channel so you guys can benefit from. So thank you guys. Have a great Friday night. Have a great weekend, and we will talk to you guys later.
Have a great one.